So you think you're ready for PLL. Let's make sure you're in the right place. You've watched my intro videos for cross, F2L, and OLL. Using those techniques, you can solve all the way to finishing the yellow side in less than 3 minutes. Hopefully a lot less. If your answer is no to any of these, check the links in the description to get caught up. Now it's time to learn PLL. PLL means permuting the last layer. If you think the name is dumb, that's pretty much how I feel about the entire CFOP naming scheme. In the last CFOP video, we talked about the cool move. We used this symbol to represent the cool move, RU. In this video, we're using the sideways happy face to represent the inverse of the cool move, which is RU. This should make the patterns easier to memorize. Pause the video and make sure you have both of these moves memorized. Let's solve the final corners. Here are the two movement patterns for the final corners. So these are the moves you do when two corners match. You line up the matching corners to the correct side and then move that side to the left. But what if you don't have any matching corners? Then you would do this move. You find one corner that looks like it's in the right spot and you rotate the cube so that corner is in the front left. So I'm going to walk you through each of these moves. Also, if you really don't want to memorize this one, I'll show you an option to get around it. Real quick, to help you on your journey, get your very own Intro to CFOP cheat sheet. It's packed full of details, diagrams, and definitions to guide you through every step. Get your Intro to CFOP cheat sheet today. Link is in the description. First thing we do is we check the corners. This one is green and blue. They don't match. This one is red and green. They don't match either. This one is orange and orange. Those corners match. So since they match, let's move them to the correct side. Those are orange, so we'll move them to the orange side. Now that the orange corners are on the orange side, we move the whole thing left. Now that they're on the left side, we can do these moves. So first we have the cool move, so let's do those. That is the right side and the top going clockwise. And then we have the right side and the top going counterclockwise, just like that. Now we do the R counter, the front clockwise, the right side flip. Then we have the top going counter. Then we have the inverse of the cool move. So the right and the top go counterclockwise first. And then the right and the top go clockwise. Then we have the R counterclockwise and the F counterclockwise. And now all the corners match. And I just want to point out that in this case, the middles are matching perfectly. It doesn't have to for this step. You only need to worry about the corners. As long as the corners are matching, then you're good for this step. But what if at the beginning of this, you don't have any matching corners? That none of the sides have a match. What do you do? There's a couple of options. One thing you can do is follow these moves. First, you find something that actually goes. This piece right here. Notice that this corner, this is red and it's matching on the red side. This is blue, it's matching on the blue side, which means this piece actually goes here. This is its correct spot. So you find a piece like that and you move it to the left, front left, just like this. And now we do those moves that you see on the screen. Front clock, right clock, top counter. Then we have the inverse of the cool move, which is just the right and top go counter, and the right and top go clock. Now we have the right going counter, the front going counter. We do the cool move again, which is the right and top going clockwise, and then the right and top going counterclockwise. We have the right side counter, front clock, right side clock, and the front counter. Now every corner on every side match. I also wanted to show you this scenario where you have no matching corners on any side, but you didn't take the time to memorize that move where that solves if you have no matching corners. So you can actually use just the first move. It just takes a little longer. You have to decide Is it worth going through more than once? It might even take 3 times to solve it, when you could just memorize those moves and solve it straight. So that's up to you. So I'm just showing you can use just the first set of moves, and that'll work. So it doesn't matter what side we start on because nothing matches. So let's just start here. Let's do the cool moves. Right and top clockwise, right and top counterclockwise. Then we have the R counterclockwise, front clock, right side flip, the top goes counter. Then we have the inverse, which is the right and top going counterclockwise, and then both of them clockwise. Then we have the right side going counter, and then the front going counter. Let's take a look. Now we have a 2 matching sides. So from here, you could then match it up, move to the left, and then do the moves again, and then you'll solve it. Now that we're done with the corners, we focus on the final edges. This is the final move to solving the cube. For this move, we will be alternating the vertical center of the cube and the top of the cube. The pattern is center, top, center, top. Imagine that this goes on forever. Whenever you're flipping the center, it can be a little confusing. What is clockwise? What is counterclockwise? Because it really depends which way you're facing. So just remember, clockwise is towards you, counterclockwise is away. Counter sounds a little negative, so if someone's walking away from you, that's counter. Clockwise is towards you, counterclockwise is away. Now that you have the pattern memorized, we can apply it to these scenarios and solutions. This move will rotate all edges to the left by 1. This won't affect the back edge. This move will rotate all edges to the right by 1, and it will also not affect the back of the cube. This move will swap 2 edges that you want to switch places with each other. You just put the edges you want swapped on the front left of the cube. This move is for when all of your edges are on the side of their opposite color. So I'm going to walk you through each of these moves, and I'll also show you an option called the lazy move, where you don't have to use any of these moves to solve the cube. You can just memorize 4 words, and that's it. Yes, just 4 words. It's easier, but it will take more time to solve, so that's up to you. First thing we do is check to see if we have a completed side. Yes, so this side is completed. We put it in the back. And now we know, since we have a completed side, that it's either the left moves or the right moves. Which one? Let's look in the front. This is green. Where does this green edge go? Wouldn't go here. It would go here to the left. So which means we're using the left moves. So here's those moves. Let's do them. We have, and again, we're going center, top, center, top. The pattern goes on forever. So we just keep alternating center and top. So first we do flip. So we flip the center. The top goes counterclockwise. Then the center is clockwise, which is toward us. The top flips. Then the center goes counter, which is away from us. The top goes counter, and the center flips. So we just solved the cube. Okay, first thing we do is we check to see if there's a completed side. Yes, we have a completed side. It's green. We move it to the back. And now we know, because we have a completed side, that we're either going to be doing the left moves or the right moves. This is red, and it should go right here. So we know we're doing the moves to the right. Because how this works is all the moves, when you do this, the right moves, they will all go that direction. This will end up here. This orange one will skip the back and end up on the orange side, and this blue one will end up on the blue side. So all of them move this rotation, except they skip the back. Same thing happens when you do the left side, and it still skips the back on the left. So let's do those moves. Remember, we're starting with the center first. So we're going to do flip. That's the flip. And then we have the top going clock. Then the center goes clockwise, which would be toward us. And then the top flips. Then the center goes counter, which is away from us. Then the top goes clock, and then the center flips. And now the cube is solved. So first thing we do is we check to see if there's a completed side. There is not a completed side. That means we will either be doing the edge swap or the opposites. This red and blue, these are not opposites, neither is this. So we're not doing the opposites. It would have to be the edge swap. So blue so the blue goes here, the red goes here, so then they need to swap. So let's position these on the front left like this so that they can swap places. Okay, so let's do those moves. Remember, we start in the center and then we go to the top over and over again. So the center would be flip. Then the top goes counter. The center flips again. Top goes counter. Now the center goes counter, which would be away from us. Top flips. Center flips. Top flips. And then we have counter, which would be away from us. We just need to line these up. And we're done. First thing we do is check to see if we have a completed side. Looks like we do not. So we know it's either going to be the edge swap or the opposites move. Okay, well look at this. These are the hot colors, red and orange. Cold colors, blue and green. There's the hot colors again. So this is opposites. Every edge is on its opposite side. So it doesn't matter, we just pick one side and then do these moves. Remember, we alternate center, top, center, top. So starting with the center, we have flip, then we have clock, then flip in the center, the top flips, the center flips again, the top goes clockwise, and the center flips one more time. And then we solved the cube. Now I'm going to show you the lazy move. It's just flip, clock, clock, flip. That's it. If you know how to use it correctly, you can solve the final edges of the cube with just those 4 words. Again, this may not be the best idea for speed solving, but if it works for you, then go ahead. So I want to show you that just using flip, clock, clock, flip, you can solve the cube. We have an orange edge here and it goes here. So we need to move it to the right. So, and we have our blue completed side here. This is in the front and it needs to go to the right. So let's just do those moves, flip, clock, clock, flip. Remember, we're alternating middle and top. So we have the flip, clock, and then clock, which would be toward us for the center, and then flip. So if we just stop there and you just look at this intuitively, we have this white and it should go with these whites. So we can just move that. And then what would go next? So this blue would match up to this blue. So it's just intuitive. And then of course, what would happen here? The white obviously goes in the bottom. So we could just flip this around. And now it's solved. But what if you needed to move it to the left? We have our completed side in the back. This blue piece needs to go left this direction. So how do we do that? Using the flip, clock, clock, flip moves, which move things to the right. Well, when you do those moves, it will move it to the right. So this blue would travel here, but then you do it again and it will then skip the back because the back is immune and it will end up right here. Or also as an alternate, if you do flip, counter, clock, flip, memorize that, which is only one word different, then it'll just go to the left. Okay, but let's stick to this lazy move, flip, clock, clock, flip. Let's do it. So we have we're starting in the center, which is flip. Then we have clock. Then we have clock, which would be coming toward us. And then we end with the flip. So then intuitively we see, okay, this white goes up there. And then we see that this orange matches this orange. And then we know that this is upside down, so we're just going to flip it back where it goes. Okay, so then what happened? The blue traveled, and now it is on the right side. We still have that orange in the back. The blue went from here to here, went right. Even though we wanted it to go left, we went right because we only memorized the lazy move. But let's just do it again. So the middle flips. Then we have clock, and then we have clock coming toward us. And then we have the flip again. Then intuitively, we know this white goes up there. And we know that this orange belongs here. And then we know this is upside down. Even though we went the wrong direction, it's still eventually solved. These are the opposites. These are the hot colors, cold colors, cold colors. So what do? Instead of using the opposite moves, we can just use the lazy moves, flip, clock, clock, flip. So let's do that. Doesn't really matter where we start. Flip, clock, and then clock goes toward us. And then the top flips. And then intuitively, we can see that this white goes up there, and this green matches that green, and that this white goes to the bottom. Okay, now what do we have? Look at that. We have a completed side. That would go to the back, and now we're in the scenario where this goes right, which of course can just be solved with a flip, clock, clock, flip. Now that we did that, we've got the white would go up here to match up with these whites. This orange would match here, and this white would go to the bottom. Okay, in this situation, we have no completed sides, so that we know it's either going to be the edge swap or the opposites. Look at this. This blue goes over here. This red goes over here. So this is the edge swap. So we put this over here, usually to the front left, because these need to swap. But we're going to see if we can use the lazy moves to solve this. So instead of doing those edge swap moves, let's just do flip, clock, clock, flip. Starting with the center, we have flip, clock, clock, and flip. And then intuitively, we know this white goes up here. And then this orange goes over here. And then, of course, this white would go to the bottom. Okay, so look at this. Now we have a completed side. So that goes to the back. This green will then go left. And we do the same thing we did before, where we do the moves that go right, and then we do it again to get it over to this side and solve it.
Being sad doesn't make you smart. It seems your heart just needs a fresh start.